Hello, we are here in Brooklyn, New York, and today we have a really fun coffee program that we want to talk a little bit about, but pretty much I'm here at SEY Coffee here in Brooklyn, New York, and we want to brew some coffee for you, talk a little bit about SEY, and share some more interesting coffees on xBloom. But yeah, let's do like a quick intro of where we are and who you are and what is SEY Coffee.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Brian. We are SEY Coffee. We are located in Brooklyn, and specifically the area of Bushwick in Brooklyn of New York City. We're a small kind of micro roastery here where we have a roaster inside our coffee shop. Our coffee shop is up front. We roast in the back. Pretty small operation. We've been doing it for, man, I don't know, been here for almost 10 years. Wow, now, jeez. It's been, a long journey. Built it from the ground basically up. As far as like what we do, how we approach coffees, that sort of thing, the idea of what we wanted to try to do from the beginning, and this has evolved over time as we have like learned and progressed and like discovered new things about coffee, also ourselves, also about what we're interested in. But ultimately the idea was like, how do we work with the coffees that we want to work with? Only this idea of trying to bring zero compromise to coffee, trying to like execute something at a level at which you can feel like there is full integrity in, there is no compromise in the product whatsoever, and see what that actually looks like in the perspective or in the world of coffee space. Like I said, that's changed and progressed over the years. When we first began doing this, I will happily admit that I did not know anything about what I was doing. We've learned a lot as we've come into like where we are now. But like the mission overall has still basically stayed the exact same, where we really do try to source the coffees, some of the best coffees in the world, or the best coffees that we can personally get our hands on, and like trying to figure out how to do that well, how to do that, with integrity. Also, how do we do that within a supply chain that tries to actually make sense within the supply chain, which just gets really complicated and challenging. But that's what we're here for, and those are the questions that we're trying to answer. And then on the roasting side, basically what we're trying to do is how do we take and like be as transparent with these coffees as possible? How do we like get these to be exact expressions of what that actual coffee is supposed to taste like? So ideally, you don't taste the roaster. That is ultimately the goal. Like if you taste the roaster, we did a bad job. That also has progressed and changed over time as we get better at tasting coffee, as equipment gets better, as we get better at brewing coffee, as we get better at growing coffee and processing coffee. Like everything has progressed and everything moves. And it's also kind of still why this industry is so exciting for me. It's like, we'll probably roast coffee slightly different in a year from now. Yeah, everything is always constantly in flux. Everything is still in the state of change as we try to like do better.
Yeah, so the big thing that I wanted to announce is that we are working on this really fun coffee collaboration program where we tap into some of SEY Coffee's rotating seasonal selection of coffees. There are new coffees at SEY every single week, and what we wanted to do was tap into that and provide a rotational seasonal program of coffee. So pretty much on xBloom, a new coffee every single 2 weeks for you all to experience. For those of you who have been brewing with xBloom for a bit of time, we did a release at the end of 2024, which was really well received. So thank you everyone for picking that coffee up. And we wanted to kind of tap more into those more expressive, interesting, like this is what coffee can be. There's so many interesting flavor profiles in coffee, and we wanted to brew a bit of coffee today and just talk about, well, what do these coffees taste like, or generally like what to look for when you're tasting a SEY coffee. So let's go ahead and brew. We wanted to launch all of this with actually a very interesting coffee. If you wanted to share a bit about that.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that's interesting with this project in particular is like, with a new coffee every week or 2 weeks really does start to show and get people the idea of seasonality of coffee, but not only seasonality of coffee, but also like actual lot separations of coffees. And the reason why we end up releasing so many coffees throughout the year is because we want to try to keep all of these producers' coffees as separate as we can. And we want to showcase these coffees as the producers own coffees from their very small farms, rather than blend them into larger lots that stay on a menu or as a product that stay on a menu for a long period of time. So,
sorry, not to interrupt, but this coffee is incredible, just smelling it.
Yeah, no, it's a lovely coffee. So, you know, I think that that's a really interesting thing to be able to bring to, you know, the consuming world or people that are excited about coffee is the ability to kind of have access to a lot of different coffees that are small, isolated, what we consider to be micro lots within our industry of very single producers, of very single lots of those producers, and allow people to like actually taste the differentiation of those different lots and of the different producers, varieties, regions, all of these sorts of things, which is like a huge part of like what we get excited about with coffee. Being able to taste all of the different producers and the separations and the seasonality of those as they kind of like move through the coffee growing world.
Yeah. So what is this coffee?
Right, let's talk about this coffee.
Yeah, let's talk about this coffee.
So this coffee is a cool variety grown in, let's see, the northwest of Colombia in a place called Urao. And it's a Chiroso variety, which is, we've done genetic testing on it, and it's an Ethiopian Ramlers variety. Similar to like a geisha, a pink bourbon, it's like we're in the same family of like those varieties, but it is genetically distinct. And we really don't know how this variety got to this place. It kind of like is isolated pretty specifically to this mountainous region just to the northwest of Colombia. And yeah, we don't know, but you know, the coffee is from here, and this variety, you know, specifically over the years has been extraordinary. The flavor profiles are amazing. They're extremely distinct. You really can't find this variety or this profile anywhere else in the world. So like, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. I mean, and you know, this is the type of coffee and experience that we want to put out for you all, right? Is like distinctive flavor profile, distinctive varieties. And that's really what we get with when we work with SEY, where we can tap into some of these, you know, very unique flavors and allow you to experience that through a brewed coffee form, which has been really, honestly, very nice for us to present, you know, these different viewpoints in coffee. And really that comes down to, what does the coffee taste like? Does it distinctively taste different? Yeah, we'll let this brew and then we'll give it a taste. And then we can talk a little bit about, well, what to look for and what do these coffees taste like.
Yeah.
Okay, so this coffee finished. Now let's begin tasting.
Let's taste it. So this coffee is from a producer. Her name is Yesica Moreno. She is a producer in this region that we've been working with for a handful of years now. She is a unique producer in the fact that she has actually two different distinct types of this variety. One they colloquially call Couture Chiroso. The other colloquially they call Bourbon Chiroso. They actually have nothing to do with Couture or Bourbon. It's just like the tree stature, and like that's why they identify them as those two different things or those two different names. But we have been able to do variety separations of those two, which has been absolutely fascinating with this producer specifically. Her farm is called El Rosal, and it's beautiful. Let's taste it.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, smells amazing. Wow. A lot happening there.
Yeah, it's a very expressive coffee.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of fruit, but the acidity still, like, I think comes through in a lovely way. It gives the fruit like effervescence. It keeps it light. I think a lot of times like fruit and coffee can go a little bit into a place of getting heavy, where it kind of like takes the profile and brings it down, takes the levity kind of like out of the coffee. But like this coffee, I think that has like a really lovely balance of like enough fruit to be like properly dynamic. Like you can get a lot of fruit, but also with enough acid to like keep the levity, keep the clarity, keep the sparkle of the coffee kind of alive.
Yeah, I mean, when we talk about what your coffees taste like, expressiveness and structure of acidity and definition of acidity is something that has been really interesting. What I'm also noticing with this coffee is just so much sweetness at the back. And something that I always forget to mention when I'm talking about your coffees is cleanliness. Like at the back, the cleanliness is there. But also cleanliness and cleanness in the sense of separation of flavors and how clean the acidity is presented. And a lot of this is, what we're talking about here is just kind of what to expect in general with a lot of your coffees. And the recipes, we can always tweak them, but a lot of the times, like, these recipes are really strong already, and we can properly represent at least, the work that is done here from a sourcing and roasting and tasting perspective. Like, this is, we're trying to represent the coffees as best as possible here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that ultimately, that is the goal when we talk about cleanliness in coffee, when we talk about transparency in coffee, when we talk about, like, we like to use the word articulation. So it's like, how is the coffee actually being articulated? How much articulation do we get in the actual flavor profile of the coffee? Which is, for me, it's like, there's a lot happening. So it's like, where can we like actually be like, oh, there's this and there's this and there's this, and we can start breaking it down because there is actually enough transparency and articulation of those things in the coffee where we can like actually like be like, oh, I do taste yellow fruit. Oh, I do taste like berry sweetness, and this is kind of the acidity that we're getting. This is the type of sweetness that we're getting, rather than kind of just like a muddled expression of all of it.
Yeah. But yeah, this coffee is this coffee is actually really good.
Yeah, no, it's a phenomenal coffee.
Is this a sample roast?
This is a sample roast.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I have to cut that out of the video. But anyway, wow. Yeah.
No, Quaker coffee fucking slaps.
This coffee is incredible. Okay, well, that's all we wanted to share today. Just cool collaboration with SEY Coffee. New coffee is coming in every single 2 weeks. I mean, if you always check the website, we always have new coffees. But this is just an exciting project for us, is to be able to showcase some of these dynamic flavor profiles, showcase so many different things in coffee at a bit of a faster pace. So if you guys are interested, please check that out. But otherwise, thank you so much for spending the time to watch this video, and thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. We're excited about the project. So
cool. And be on the lookout. We'll do more collaborations and releases with SEY Coffee as well. So see you guys later. Bye.